Tired of doing everything in your business and wish you could just have an assistant who gets it? I come across many business owners who are swamped. They're filling out support tickets, they're doing endless to-do lists. In fact, anything but the actual work they love that would help them grow their business, and they're really getting dragged down by these menial tasks. They know there's a better way, but they don't have anyone to take these tasks off their hands. In this video, we're going to deep dive into my process that helps you find the absolute best virtual assistant. Not someone who's just good, but someone who's great to take these tasks off your hands so your revenue can start growing and you're enjoying business more. But first, let's tackle the biggest doubt business owners have that actually keeps them stuck in the low value menial tasks. So you're wondering, how will I know if a virtual assistant will be good enough? It's kind of like choosing an avocado. You don't just take the first one off the shelf, you check for ripeness and readiness, and one will be better than the other. Hiring a VA is similar. You don't want just a VA, you want a VA that fits perfectly into your business by understanding their skills, their work ethic, and how their goals align with your goals. And yes, you will have to interview them because that will be just like a taste test for the avocado. You get to try it before you get too far down the track to make sure things are on the same page and that you're fully aligned. That will increase your chance of success. So if you're curious on how to spot the best VA, let's peel back the layer on this process. Imagine you're building Lego. Your instructions are like the perfect hiring process. And the pieces, they're like the VAs you can choose from. And if you get the right VA with the right instructions, you end up with the masterpiece and everything's going to be amazing. The first things you'll need in your instructions are to check for what time zone will they be working in? What kind of computer equipment do they have? How good is their English? What sort of pay rate might they expect? And what kind of skills have they got that they bring to the table? A lot of VAs are going to work from home, so they won't need to transport into some central hub, and you won't need to deal with a service provider who has offices and internet or whatever. But just check the home internet connection and that it is in a user-friendly environment to be able to do work from home. Some VAs are working part-time, other people are working full-time. It's been my experience to hire full-timers because now you're not competing with the other people hiring your VA part-time. And of course, it's really important if you already have a team that your new team members integrate perfectly with your team. There's no point having disharmony or undoing all the great work you've already built. So team fit, culture and values should be on that checklist. At this point, you might be wondering, but where do I find these rare Lego pieces? Well, I've got a little technique that not many people know about, so I'll be sharing with you in a moment where to find the very best VAs. Oh, hey there. Accessing the hidden VA market, it's like getting a cheat code for your favorite video game. You'll unlock all the special goodies that nobody else has access to. These aren't just average players. They're not on the usual jobs boards looking for job after job or working multiple jobs. These people, they've been doing something else and they come through this special channel and they're ready to work for you for the long haul. And they often bring really great skills. Some of them have had management training, have already looked after teams, or have been really well trained on communication systems, CRM, support, etc. But where do you find these people? I can tell you it's not the jobs boards. It's more to do with having the right connections and knowing where to look. This is where agencies come into play. They are actually specialized in matchmaking the perfect VA to your type of business, and you get the highest possible match versus you trying to put on that recruitment hat and figure it all out for yourself. Think of it like having a golden ticket to give you high-level access. I mean, let's face it, even if you wanted to do this yourself, you can't overcome the fact that there are established connections and pathways for the really top performers, and they're ready for you right now if you know where to look. And the best part is the candidates are already vetted, interviewed, tested, and have a level of skills established before you even enter the scene. So you're actually fast-tracking all of that groundwork and eliminating a huge amount of risk from the process. You might already be thinking, well, this is going to be super expensive. Well, here's the thing. If you go out and try and do stuff yourself, yes, it could be cheap, but it is fraught with potential for danger. If you go and get a super fancy high-level agency who's running their own workshop of people and billing on top of their labor, yes, you're going to be paying double, triple, quadruple what you should. My way is right in the middle there. You'll get the assistance up front, which you'll pay for, but then It's on you from then on, and you get a direct relationship with the VA. And I think that's the best model for the long term for you, the business owner. And it's great for your VA as well. Think of hiring a VA like choosing a subscription service. You can have better features in the higher end services, and you often miss out in the lower end. So when it comes to choosing how much you want to pay your VA, you'll have to take into account their experience, their expectations, and of course what role you need done and how important those tasks are. So there is a range. There's the entry level, the medium level, and then the high end. Now, if you are hiring direct, that means you'll be able to pay your VA directly, and there's no middleman scraping or adding a margin. So the sort of numbers that you'll be looking at are these. If you're hiring a virtual assistant in the Philippines, you'll expect to pay a monthly wage. If they're full-time, that wage will usually be paid by you to them in Philippine pesos. Now, the wage range, depending on junior through to experience, might look like 27,000 PHP per month to 55,000 PHP per month. Now, what does that mean in your currency? Well, in US dollars, that's roughly 500 US dollars per month through to 1,000 US dollars per month, just as a ballpark figure. Now, a lot of people have trouble budgeting their income, so we recommend you actually pay twice per month. So you take that monthly amount, divide it in half, and you pay on the 15th and then month end every single month. If you do that on time, you'll have a great team member who's always got cash on hand. Now, some of the fine-tuning elements of this will depend on your employer terms, and this is an area that business owners often get wrong, so let's cover that. When it comes to putting together your work agreement, this is really like writing the rules to your own game. Often your team member is in the Philippines and you're in a different country, so there's not really any specific laws that apply that would normally apply if you're hiring locally to you. But that being said, nothing beats having a really clear agreement so that everybody knows what the rules of engagement are. You can set forth the expectations in the days worked, times worked, whether they get their annual leave, public holidays, or your country's public holidays. You can also outline the amount you're going to pay, when you're going to pay it, and if there are any other provisions for holidays or sick leave. We would recommend that you have a written agreement with anyone you bring on full-time so that everybody knows exactly what game is being played and what the rules of the game are. But before you get to that employee agreement, there's one critical thing that you really must make sure you have in place before you proceed. Of course, I'm talking about trust. If you were to lend your friend your surfboard, you'd want to make sure it comes back in good condition. So there are some essential things you can do to make sure that you can trust this virtual assistant to be secure with your personal information and the company's sensitive information. To establish trust, you'll want to have a look at the background of your candidate. You might want to speak to a previous employer, and you'll certainly want to have a chat to the recruiter if you're dealing with an agent. Also, if they're referred by a friend, you can get more background information. Now, when they start in your business, what you'll want to do is to give them some tasks to establish trust and to prove that they are able to comply. And over time, you can increase the access they have to more sensitive information as they prove themselves trustworthy. One thing I really like about the Philippines culture is they have a good value system, family-oriented, Catholic predominantly, so you'll find that there are less issues with perhaps some other cultures you may have experienced in the past. Over time, you'll really be able to show them all sorts of things. So a couple of team members in my business who have been with me for a long time, they now have access to my bookkeeping, our payroll, and our income, profit and loss report, revenue, etc., and it's not been an issue. Once you've established the trust baseline, then it's time to look at the next thing. And that, of course, is the working hours, to make sure you've got full coverage so that when you're not on deck, at least somebody is. It'll be important to establish work hours for your team member. If they're full-time, then have a start and finish time on a schedule. If you happen to be in Australia, then they're only a few hours different to you. If you're in North America, you can actually ask your team members to ask North American time zones. But what's not acceptable is when you set up a time expectation, but your team member starts working their own hours. This can be terrible. It means you may not have enough overlap to be able to communicate the important things that need to happen. And in the very bad situations, it could mean that they have another job. So it's critical that you agree on the set work hours and that they are able to keep to that. Things you can do to help your VA be more able to work in that time zone is to check some certain things. Did they used to work that time shift before? Do they have a nice place within their house or wherever they intend to work that is free from disturbances and family? Do they have a good internet connection? And do they have reasonable hardware that can get the job done? Because those things would be the critical foundations for being able to do the job in a regular and reliable fashion. And it's totally fine for them to work from home. In this global environment, it's accepted normal now that you can work from home. It allows you to access all of that talent who used to actually resent going into the call center, etc. So now you can access them, and it's a win for you and it's a win for them. Now, if this isn't your first VA, then you're going to have to consider another element, which is the fact that this can be a team dynamic thing. Just like a sport, you're going to have to integrate your new VA with the other players in the business, even if they're Western based. So let's talk about that. Just like a team sport, you may need to move the players around depending on what the team's strengths and weaknesses are and what roles there are within the team that need getting done. Some people will be more suited to particular roles, so move them into that area. And when new people come in, make sure you make them feel welcome and supported and give them all the resources they need, maybe even a buddy and regular check-ins so that they embrace the harmony and the power of that entire team rather than feeling like an outsider coming in. It's quite common where you bring in a virtual assistant and plug them into an existing Western team. They will be embraced and supported because now the Westerners can focus on the things they really want to, and the team member feels valued because they're able to support that effort of the entire business. And now it's time to talk about the secret of how to find the very best employees that hardly anybody knows about. Of course, the very best candidates are not out there looking for a job. They're happy in their current job. Well, at least they think they are. But what we've been able to do over time is develop new channels of access to candidates who aren't on the jobs boards, who are ready to take on that next leap, to come and work in your business for an international employer for a little bit more than what they're getting paid right now, and to be able to work from home. So we have a hidden pool of talent through our agency, and that's what makes it very different to what you've been able to access through all the usual places. And what about these agencies that charge $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a month, where they have a little center and they have a team in there? I mean, look, you can use those maybe to get up and running. The challenge is often those people, they have to live close to the call center or the workplace. Also, often those employers are skimming a big margin on top of the employee's actual wage. So you end up paying a huge premium to get a lower level team member, and they churn over quite regularly. When you hire direct, you're getting the best power to weight ratio for the amount you pay to the talent that you get. And of course, if you don't want to spend all that extra money for nothing, you can do it by going to the right agency in the first place. So imagine your business where you actually have that support. You've got a virtual assistant, maybe a couple in there, and they're clearing out your inbox. They're answering support tickets, they're crafting emails, they're sending them out, they're doing the bookkeeping. They might even help you with your social media, your researching, your content planning, transcriptions, gathering, creating reports, all the things that you don't want to do because you're busy doing the thing that you do want to do. Now, to have that in place is like a dream, but that dream really can be a reality, and the fastest possible way there is to hook in to a great source of well-vetted, pre-screened candidates who are ready to come and work for you. The easiest roles to start off with are support roles. That's a non-phone based support role where they're answering support tickets and in general helping you with tasks in the background of your business as you train them and they grow into other roles that lean more into whatever their natural skill set is. And this is where visionfind.com comes into the picture. You see, after I hired my first 60 or 70 team members, my clients wanted to know, where did I get these people from? So I said to my team, well, why don't we help our clients as well? I ended up forming visionfind.com with my co-founder. And for many, many years, we've been supplying these team members very quietly in the background, not making any fuss. And you just pay up front for that candidate. And after you've been matched up with your candidate, then you pay the candidate. There's no extra fees. So it really is probably very well underpriced, but you'll get access to a hidden talent of Vision Find candidates, and they'll come in and they'll be ready to learn from you, to receive training, to integrate into your team, and to start taking those messy tasks off your hands so that you can get to what it is that you should be doing. Go and check out visionfind.com.